So what's good, everybody? Everybody good? No doubt, no doubt. So like you said, it's mad informal, so we're just chilling. I'm basically gonna just kind of share my experience on this whole thing, what I've gone through with it. So I wrote down some points here, so I'm just gonna try to go through it, and anytime you feel like you want to ask a question, it's all good, just jump right in, okay? So before we get into the really technical stuff of the business, I'm gonna go into like the steps. You know, the first thing to me, excuse me, let me turn my phone off. Yeah, the first thing to me is just being serious about, you know, picking your craft and what you're gonna be doing in the business before you even step into it, because the business can be very cutthroat and raw. I mean, I've encountered some really messed up things in the business. I'm sure you heard stories of artists getting screwed out of their monies and all kind of stuff, because if you don't know, you're not educated before you step into it, you get shiced. You know what I'm saying? People take advantage of you and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, the first thing is to really be serious. Make sure you want to step into it. Educate yourself about, you know, what the business is and what you're gonna get yourself into before you get into it. But once you get to that level, I mean, the next thing you can do is I would, you know, put together your team. And before you get to your team, what you should do is just like start really putting your product together. You know what I mean? Get your music right. After you get your songs recorded with a good producer, what I would do is, you know, work on your packaging, because your packaging is not just your music, not just your songs, but you as an artist is the package. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to sell not only your music, but kind of sell yourself, your look, your style, you know, your whole image. Everything goes into it. What you're about, you know, you have to be really kind of real to what your music is essentially saying. So get that ready before you take the next step. The next step would be to put your team together. Your team can consist of like 5, 10 people, or even one person. But, you know, a general team consists of like your manager, your agent, your lawyer, and yourself. That's 4. That's the basic team. You know, that's kind of my guidelines that I went through. I put my team together, just really 4 people. You can do it with just one person, but you need those 4 people. Because number one, as an artist, you can't go into a label without having those people there. First of all, you can't speak to a label without having a lawyer, because the label, they want to know that, number one, your product is your product. There's no like licensing issues. You didn't take any samples or anything not cleared. You have everything has to be legit. So that's where the lawyer comes in. The lawyer's job is to make sure everything that you say when you're in a meet with a label is true, is the right thing. So everything has to be legit when you go to labels, because if it's not, a label don't want to lose money off of lawsuits from other entities suing them because of, you know, your mishaps. You weren't honest in your presentation. So your lawyer's got to take care of all that stuff. Your manager's role is to get you the right team, to get you the right manager, to get you the right agent, whether it be booking agent or just a representation person or a PR person. Your manager's job is to get you the exact team that you're going to need to get you to the next level. Once you have your team together, now you guys move. You attack, everybody moves together on point. You attack, you know, you attack labels, you attack radio personnel, you attack booking agencies, and anything that can further your career. And say you do get a label deal. What a label's going to want out of you is to see that your entity, your crew, basically can move independent without a label funding you money through everything. They want to see that you can really drive your own stuff. You can be an automobile with the wheels, steering wheel, the engine, to be able to move yourself, not just a label doing all that work. An artist nowadays, you have to have everything together. Here brings my next point. Basically, when you finally get into the business, and it's called arriving. When you arrive into the business, in order to stay into the business, you should, after the years of taking you to get there, you should be educated somewhat, you know, before you even get into the business. Because, like Mana was saying, artists tend to get scammed out of their due royalties and stuff. And royalties is just basically monies that are due to artists. You know, your lawyer, your manager will kind of explain all that stuff to you. you know, when it's time to sit down. And there's different kind of royalties. There's mechanical royalties, which is an artist will get off of his album. Say your album sells, you know, 50,000. Your mechanical royalties reflect the sales of your album, and depending on, you know, whatever you got negotiated with your label, you get points off of each song. Say your song consists of like 12 tracks on your album, you get a certain amount of points per song on this album. So your lawyer, your manager's job is to negotiate, make sure you have the right points on your album. So when your album sells, if it sells good, then you get your due diligence. A lot of people, they forget that step. They say, cool, boom, my album is done, it's recorded, it's in the stores, sell 50,000 copies, they never see a penny. They're screwed. They never sat down with their lawyer and handled this. This is a major step in why people get shiced. The other part about it is your publishing. Like, I know so many people that lost out in their publishing. For me, for instance, I'll give you my example is publishing. You make beats, you produce. You make a beat and you get an artist to sing on this beat. You split the publishing 50-50. Whoever makes a track gets 50. Whoever sings on the track gets 50%. Right? It's a pie. You cut it right down the middle. You get half and half. The problem is the labels usually take your royalties. Take your royalties. It's one thing when you pay a producer to make a beat. It's another thing when there's sales and things involved with your movement of your song. Because, like I said, it's 50% each person gets. Sometimes the label, a lot of times, they end up taking the artist's cut. The producer will get paid. You pay Timbaland, you pay Dre, but the artist won't get 50%. And those your 50% adds up to a thing called like you ever heard of ASCAP? Or ASCAP or BMI? Those are like publishing companies who an artist should be signed on to. Like I'm signed to ASCAP. So anytime, like one of my songs is played on a radio station, a commercial radio station anywhere in the world, is a company out called BDS, or Media Base. There's two of them, BDS and Media Base. Those two companies' job is to track your music. So in virtual internet highway, so whatever, all floating around in space, there's these satellites that basically track your music wherever it's played on any station in the world. And each play you get on a commercial station is kind of a spin. It's called one spin. One spin generally translates to 5 cents, right? So when you add up all your spins worldwide of commercial station, not talking like college station, but like commercial, Jam 94.5 plays your record, you add up those 5 cents every time it plays it, times thousands of radio stations worldwide who's playing your music, that is like your publishing. You know what I'm saying? Media Base, BDS, their job is to track those play, tally that up, and your publishing company, which in my case is ASCAP, they then get the printout from BDS and say, okay, Mighty Mystic had, 7,000 spins worldwide in the first quarter. Musically, it's broken up into 4 quarters. Quarter one, we're in quarter one right now. Then the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter will come. So basically, at the end of every quarter, you'll get your ASCAP will basically send you a check saying to you, listen, this is how much play you've gotten. This is how much money it equals to. This is what we take, our cut. So I'm going to give you a scenario.